Lick number 8. This is a variation on a basic Freddie King bend. We're going to stay in the key of D. And this isn't from any particular tune that I can think of. This is just something I've heard Freddie King do and I really like it. So he does a lot of bends on the second string, but sometimes he'll play around with it. So that is the idea that I'm getting at. So what you do is that in the tab I have this first bend. It's what I call a long bend where I'm using 4 fingers and I'm bending the 13th fret of the second string in the key of D. So we're just playing over that first blues box in D. So we got, and then I'm just gonna play around on the second string. I'm gonna bend it, release it, go to the 10th fret, and then go to some other bends and notes in the first blues box. He does this in all kinds of different ways. I tabbed out one real simple idea. I mean, you could just play around with that all day long, and that is a really soulful, bluesy type lick that Freddie King does. And again, he's playing with extreme volume and holds those notes, and they sustain really nicely. So try that. That's just a general Freddie King idea that I like a lot, and that is example number 8. Freddie King lick number 9. This is from a tune called Full-Time Love in the key of C. And this is a long bend on the first string on the 11th fret. And Freddie King does this throughout the tune, and he'll do these really emotional bends and then slowly go into these riffs in the first position blues box. Kind of hard for me to explain. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. One more time. So the lick, the idea I'm talking about is bending up on the first string, 11th fret, and sometimes he just stops there, sometimes he'll throw that lick in on top of it. So if you're playing in the first position blues box, a lot of times we're bending on the second string, but he'll do a lot of these really high bends on the first string before going into the runs in the first blues box. Listen to Full-Time Love, and he does this as a fill lick throughout the tune with lots of variations. I think I tabbed out just a simple version. Something pretty close to that. So that's lick number 9. You bend up on the first string, hold it, and then ascend with a run in the first position blues box. Lick number 10, Freddie King lick number 10. This is a kind of a combination of licks. This is from a tune called She Put Her Whammy on Me. Great song title. It's in the key of C sharp. And what I'm going to do here is combine bends, a long bend on the second string with a long bend on the first string, and then I'm going to play some pull-offs. And this is a good example, in my opinion, of showing Freddie King's technique. He wasn't just playing single notes. He's putting a lot of feel into it with these different little techniques here. So it goes something like this. Again. Listen to She Put Her Whammy on Me, and you'll hear the exact phrasing. But the idea, I'm starting out with the bend on the second string, 12th fret, to the 9th fret of the first string. And then I'm going to bend and release and keep it on the 12th fret of the first string. And let it ring out a little bit. And then when I come back, you hear those pull-offs and holding. That little riff right there, just bending the 9th fret of the 3rd string with one finger. Freddie King did that quite a bit. So let's try that again. So notice how I pause. Then we get that pull off from the 11th to the 9th fret. Actually, a couple of them. So we get our first one. We're pulling off on the 3rd string. Going to that bend. And another pull off. So we've got 2 bends and 2 pull offs all on that same lick. Pretty complicated lick. And that is another, I just think Freddie King, you play those same notes without doing that stuff and they just sound ordinary. But when you do the pull-offs and the bends and hold them, then it sounds really, really soulful. So that is example number 10, and that is from She Put Her Whammy on Me in the key of C sharp. Lick number 11 is a variation on the first lick, the first idea that I showed you here in this lesson, which is a descending run on the 1st and 2nd strings. We did it in B flat. What we're going to do here is move to the key of C in a tune called Lonesome Whistle Blues, where he did something similar, but this time really mostly on the 2nd string. So like we could play a lick like this. And all I'm doing is playing that same lick on the 2nd string and 3rd string. So you could lead into it. All kinds of variations. I'm not even sure what it got tabbed here, but you can check the tab. And the specific example I have for you is from Lonesome Whistle Blues. Something like that, but you get the idea. So that is idea number 11, playing a descending run mostly on the 2nd string instead of playing that on the 1st string. Lick number 12 is one of my all-time favorite Freddie King licks. It's from a tune called I Loved a Woman. It's in the key of C. And in the solo, he's going to go and play. He's in C. He's going to play over the F. I call this playing over the 4-chord 1st blues box. So what he's going to do, he plays this kind of lick. And what I'm doing here is playing basically over the F. We're in C, and right here is a 4-chord or the 1st position C blues box. And he's going to lead into that lick, going from the 13th to the 15th fret and back to the 13th. And then that bend, where he's bending on the 15th fret, I'm doing a 3-fingered bend, 15th fret of the 1st string, and then just letting it sing out. That's, I think, the exact lick that he plays, but let it sing. And sing again, that really high note. So we got this. Sometimes he'll lead into something like that with that lick, where he'll slide. This would be the 14th fret of the 3rd string to the 13th fret of the 2nd string. But this time he just rocks back and forth on the 2nd string. Something like that. And he plays that to wrap up the solo in that tune. So you can be playing in the 2nd blues box, and then go to that really high bend. And Freddie King, again, doesn't do that a lot, but when he does, it's really, really neat. And that's a key in his playing. He doesn't overdo it. He plays some pretty simple licks with a lot of soul, and then at the right moment, plays something like that where it really just kind of takes your breath away. So that is from a tune called I Loved a Woman in the key of C. That song's got some other great licks in it, so make sure you give that a listen. Lick number 13 is from a Freddie King instrumental called Remington Ride, and this lick demonstrates another Freddie King idea where he's going from what I call the A position to the 1st position blues box. And he does this a couple different times in a couple different ways in this same song. Something like this. not sure if I played that exactly like I have it tabbed out, but that first part where he's playing in this position. So here's our first position D. That's our first position blues box. Right here is a second position D bar chord. So we can actually plant our first finger there and fret the 10th fret of the first string with our pinky, and we have what's called a long D chord. And then in between, we've got a scale we can play. And what he's doing, he's starting out with that lick. Something very close to that. And then going to the first position blues box. Really cool idea. And so I'm starting out with a lick like that. I've got it tabbed out for you from the 7th to the 9th fret. Something like that. I didn't throw in that bend there. And then just get into the first position blues box and play around. But he starts it out with that. And then does a typical climbing Freddie King lick in the first position blues box. But the difference is, or the thing that makes that lick unique, is how he starts it out in the A position on not really the bass notes, but the 4th and the 3rd string. So that is example number 13, showing how he would move from the A position to the first position blues box. Lick number 14 is what I call a palm muted scrape. And this is a technique that you hear Freddie King use quite a bit. Really cool idea. And what he's doing is picking the strings while muting them with his right hand palm. There's a tune called Texas Oil. It's the instrumental in B flat. And he does this lick like that. Really neat. And what he's doing is really just picking over a B flat minor shape. So if I put my first finger on the 6th fret and get the first 3 strings, that's the first part of it. And then winds up on the 4th string, 8th fret, which is the B flat. Like that. And then that tune, he plays it 4 times, like right in a row. I don't know if I can do that. It's kind of tough. I don't know if it would be any easier if you do it with the finger picking with the thumb and the first finger. But you can use that idea. And if you listen to Freddie King, every now and then he'll be playing a solo. There's a great instrumental called Low Tide where he does this. And he'll play a single string run. And then I'll go into one of those scrapes. I call it a palm muted scrape. What I'm doing with the right hand, I know you can't see this because of my one camera. I'm trying to get another camera set up. Is I'm setting my right hand palm gently on those strings. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string. Then I'm just dragging the pick up. And that's where that sound comes from. Play around with that. That is a really cool idea, and you don't have to play it just like that. You can pretty much do it in different ways. However you want to work that into your playing. But that's something Freddie King did a lot. We'll end this lesson with one of my favorite Freddie King ideas. It's not difficult, but it's something that he did a lot, and he did it in a lot of different ways. We're playing in the key of A. He'd do these bends where he's bending this double stop. It's a D shape, so if we're in the key of A, we're going over a 2nd. Actually, it's not a D shape. What is this? This would be over the A shape, or the 2nd position, A bar chord. So here's our 1st position, 12th to 14th frets, and he's going to play this basic bend where I'm holding my first finger on the 12th fret of the 1st string, bending up on the 13th fret. And then what Freddie King would do he'd throw in these little single string runs while holding that position. So if we're playing that double stop, we've got the 15th and 14th frets of the first string. And then our root note is the A, which is the 14th fret of the third string. So he'd do this lots of different ways. Really cool idea. And you can move this around. So if you're playing an E, which is another key where he'd do this a lot, you could play it in a G, real simple. So wherever you find the second position bar chord, you can put that double stop shape, do the bend on the second string, and then play around with those other notes in that A scale or A position. That's a simple idea, but it's really neat, and it's something you don't hear people play much anymore. I really like that. So there's 15 different Freddie King licks and ideas that I really like and that I've worked into my own playing, or at least tried to. Some of them are pretty tough. The scrapes, that takes some practice, and I'm really not great at that. I know what he's playing, but you know, it's up to you if you want to use that to practice it to where you can do it. Try it with the finger picks and see if that doesn't work a little easier for you. So there is my signature licks lesson for the months of January through March 2020. I'll be back again, and I'm going to keep redoing some of the old signature licks series that I did, trying to improve the teaching, and I've got tab this time and also the camera, better camera and lighting. But eventually I'm going to start getting into some guys that I haven't explored yet. Jody Williams is one, even some Muddy Waters on the slide, and you know, we'll see what we can come up with. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. Check the video description for a link to the tab. And I've got each one of these licks tabbed out for you as it's played in the original recordings, which I also have listed on the tab. I'll see you again in about 3 months.